John Wesley was one of the most influential figures in the history of Christianity and is widely recognized as the founder of the Methodist Movement. His life, dedicated to preaching the gospel, personal sanctification, and social justice, had a profound impact not only in the England of his time but also in many parts of the world. The Methodist movement, which originated from his teachings and evangelistic efforts, continues to have a significant global presence. Wesley is remembered as a hero of the faith who dedicated his life to transforming both the church and society through the message of the gospel. John Wesley was born on June 28, 1703, in Epworth, England, as the 15th child of Samuel Wesley, an Anglican minister, and Susanna Wesley, a woman of deep faith and exceptional educational talent. His family background was instrumental in shaping Wesley's spiritual development. His mother, in particular, had a profound influence on her children, fostering an environment of strict education and deep spirituality. Susanna believed that her children's education should be centered around the scriptures and prayer. She personally instructed John and his siblings in sound theological principles and intense devotional practices. From a young age, Wesley demonstrated a genuine pursuit of a life of faith, being profoundly influenced by his mother. His father, Samuel, also played an important role in shaping his spiritual life, though he was more rigid and austere. The influence of his parents and the strong religious environment marked Wesley's childhood and adolescence, preparing him for the ministry and leadership he would later exercise. John Wesley studied at Oxford University, where he graduated in 1724. During his time at Oxford, he became involved with a group of students who sought to live out their faith in a more practical and disciplined way. This group became known as the Methodists due to their methodical approach to Christian living, which included intense Bible reading, constant prayer, and a series of spiritual disciplines. These students, including Wesley, sought to live a genuine and ordered Christian life, and their zeal caught the attention of many, becoming a reference point for those wanting to live a more authentic Christianity. It was during this time that Wesley began to question his own spiritual experience. Despite being devout and living an exemplary Christian life, he felt that something was missing in his faith. Wesley was unsure of his salvation and felt that his pursuit of good works was not enough. This spiritual journey would lead him to a profound and transformative encounter with God. Wesley's life came in 1738, when he experienced a genuine conversion, something he had never felt before. During a meeting at Aldersgate, London, he listened to a sermon based on the book of Romans and suddenly felt his heart strangely warmed, as he described it. This moment was a confirmation of God's love and the certainty of his salvation, which Wesley finally experienced by faith, not by his works. This event was decisive, and Wesley realized that salvation was a gift from God, one that could only be received through faith in Jesus Christ, not by human effort or adherence to the law. This conversion experience was fundamental to the transformation of his life and the formation of Methodist theology, which emphasizes God's grace and justification by faith. Wesley devoted himself even more to evangelism and establishing Christian communities. He traveled throughout England and beyond, preaching in the open air, in public squares, and in places where traditional churches did not reach. He believed the gospel should reach everyone, especially the marginalized and the poor. It was common for Wesley to preach in coal mines, factories, and other places where people didn't attend church. His innovative approach to evangelism, combined with an unwavering missionary fervor, led many people to join the Methodist movement. Wesley established societies and small groups known as Methodist societies, where Christians gathered for prayer, Bible study, and mutual encouragement. These groups became the backbone of the movement and ensured that the Methodist movement grew in a dynamic and engaging way. Wesley did not want to form a new denomination, but his reform efforts within the Anglican Church soon led to the development of a distinct tradition. He emphasized that salvation by grace, personal sanctification, and the commitment to good works were essential for Christian life. Although part of the Anglican Church, Wesley began to organize the Methodists independently, as the Anglican Church was not yet ready to embrace many of his reforms. Holiness and Christian perfection. John Wesley's theology was centered around personal holiness and love for God and neighbor. He believed that salvation was not a one-time event, but a continuous process of sanctification. For him, sanctification was not just a theological concept, but something that should be lived out practically. Wesley emphasized that Christians should pursue Christian perfection, understood as unconditional love for God and others, free from selfishness and deliberate sin. He also introduced the concept of Christian perfection, which was the idea that, over time, a Christian could be transformed in such a way that they would not commit deliberate sin but would live in holiness. Wesley believed that God's grace enabled the Christian to reach this state of perfection, but he did not see this as absolute perfection, but as pure and selfless love. Additionally, Wesley had a strong commitment to social service. He advocated for education, social justice, and care for the poor and needy. He founded schools, helped establish hospitals, and openly criticized slavery. His movement was not just a religious reform, but also a movement for social transformation. John Wesley died on March 2, 1791, at the age of 87. He left behind a monumental legacy in Christianity, especially in the Methodist Movement, which remains one of the largest Protestant denominations worldwide. Although Wesley did not live to see the full establishment of the Methodist Movement, his tireless work and dedication to personal sanctification, evangelism, and social justice were pivotal in the spread of the gospel. Today, Wesley's ideas about holiness and grace continue to influence millions of Christians around the world. His life and ministry remain an example of how faith can transform both individuals and society. The life of John Wesley was marked by a profound commitment to the gospel of Christ, a pursuit of personal holiness, and a passion to reach those outside the church. His Methodist doctrine continues to be one of the most significant within evangelical Christianity, and his example of fervent faith still inspires Christians worldwide. His story is a reminder that true Christian faith is not confined to worship but is expressed through personal transformation, a commitment to serving others, and a constant pursuit of holiness.